Good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, I appreciate everyone for watching this on YouTube or if you got an email in Zoom. I have been practicing in public. That's what I'm going to call it. I had not previously used YouTube Live, but I want to in 2026 to share more. So here we are. The person who I see is here. I believe we're meeting in an hour. So I'm honored that you would be here. Again, if you have any questions, you can always drop them in the chat. But yeah, let's go through this again. I want families to know that this is a critical time. Last night, actually, I got more news from more students that we work with that they'd been deferred, particularly from Howard University. And mixed emotions. I never want to paint a deferral as a bad thing, but I'm also aware that it is not necessarily a great thing. And it's important that we have some perspective, that we have some perspective. So just so you know, you're on live on YouTube, by
Good
the way.
morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Hold on. I can't hear you.
I can. I'm talking, and I think you're here.
Um, Hold on a second. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, I can hear you now.
And, and, and good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. And just so you know, I could have sworn we had a private meeting at 11 a.m. But
Oh,
no, no,
I
no.
could have the time wrong, so we
You
can move to 11. I either one fine. So I can.
again. I'm honored that you would join my live share again. You're on YouTube, by the way.
Okay.
But yes,
Well,
yes, you
we
are
can.
you are on at 11 privately.
Okay. All right.
All
I'll
right.
hop on then.
All right. See you soon. That was cool. Uh, yeah, so that is a one of our college application action plan clients. Was really, really happy that she has been uh, joining me as a parent for her child who has been deferred. But like many people, this is it's a tough situation. It's a tough situation right now because I do understand that a lot of families are confused about what's next, what to do. Like I said, Howard University came out last night with their decisions, and yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed for some of my students. I'm because I've been through this enough times. I understand that there's always going to be a silver lining. Again, there's anger, there's frustration, there's embarrassment. There's so many different things that go into how families feel right now during the holidays, in particular around college admission. But I am someone who is adamant, adamant that students always land on their feet. They're like cats. Well, they say Rick Clark said it best. Cat students are like cats. They always land on their feet. So again, it is a unfortunate, hard time for many, but I do believe that getting deferred is not the end of the world. So let me go through the slide deck again for those of you who don't know. I appreciate you for being on my YouTube page. This will be recorded, and obviously it'll live there and as an evergreen video. Strategic emissions advice, Shereem Herndon-Brown. I hope to continue to practice in public more so that I can be of value to many people. So December is the month where clarity arrives. You have to rethink a lot of things that you might not have considered before, but hey, that's part of it. They call it a college admission process for a reason. It is not a straight line. Even those people who get in early decision and feel great at the moment, they may not feel great in 4 months. They may say, you know what, maybe I coulda, woulda, shoulda waited to see where else I got in. So it's complicated. And for young adults, teenagers, 17, 18 years old, yes, they're making big decisions, but there's so much that goes into not just the college admission process, but the college experience that we never want to undercut the fact that there's going to be a lot of change and growth between ages 18 and 22, 23. So all that said, December brings clarity, and I want to make sure that families know that they're not alone. I am someone who has a love-hate relationship with social media. I'm trying to love it more than for I guess, we've had social media pretty heavy. I guess I've been on social media pretty heavy now for almost 17 years. Probably joined Facebook when my son was about 3 or 4, so that's about 2007. I think, Facebook was founded in maybe 2004. So I am someone who likes the fact that I can connect with people around the world via social media, and I do like LinkedIn a lot. Um, but I do think that we put too much emphasis on what we see other people doing around this college process and social media. So I want to be very clear. Please, please, please try to be wary of not just posting on social media because of how it can make certain people feel. You can say, well, I don't care. I want to celebrate my kid. Great. But also understand that there are people who are posting on social media primarily so they can look good to the masses. And this process has a tendency to make some people feel great and others not to feel so great. And that's never my desire to to do that. So that's what I say. All right, deferrals. Let's talk through this. If you watched the previous video, I appreciate you. But I would love to connect with you more if your child has been deferred. I do think it's time to, uh, you know, understand how this process works. I do think that the door is still open. So the college has told you that the door is still open, that this is not over. But I also am a firm believer that you need to assess, reassess, and hopefully have some different options. It is critical, critical, critical that colleges get more information about students to help them to make their decisions. It is not a time to just all of a sudden sit on your hands. I definitely want families to be proactive in this process. And how do they do that? You upload new grades, you write a letter of continued interest, you stay academically strong. These are things that parents, you need to talk to your student about. I understand it's the holiday break. I understand that you're trying to spend quality family time as I am as well, and trying not to work as much as I normally do. But it's also a time where you have to keep the foot on the gas, students, and not allow this process to unfold, to kind of deteriorate because you catch senioritis. Senioritis when seniors get a sickness and they don't put as much effort into their grades as they used to, and that is definitely not cool. All right, so updating the letter matters, the grades matter, expressing urgency matters. Colleges want to be loved. Yes, you may have applied early decision and you thought that would be enough to tell them that you love them, but now they want to see, is this kid gonna still be around for us to select them in a few months? Are they gonna, pull the trigger and apply ED2 somewhere? Are they gonna, fall in love with maybe an EA school? Do they want to withdraw from us because they're mad that we deferred them? You need to make sure that if you still want that school, to express urgency, and I think that is critical. Action over anxiety. I am big on that. I really want students and parents to understand that the most that they can control in this process is doing everything that I said previously, but sitting on your hands and saying, well, let's just see how this plays out. You won't feel good about it. You don't want to be that person who doesn't feel good about what they do. So when kid gets rejected, I think it's important that we accept it and move on. Okay. It's hard. And again, I said that wrong. Pardon me. When an application gets rejected or denied, let's move on. Let's not allow one school, two school, three schools, however, or EA may have worked out, to all of a sudden derail the whole process. 100% you need to reassess and make sure you're still doing the right thing. But a rejection is final. I really don't want students to kind of dwell on it and allow themselves to um, bemoan the experience because someone said that their application wasn't what they were looking for. It's life. It's hard. Own that. I'm not saying you to be dismissive, but please, please, please do not, dwell on it. Let me see one thing here. There we go. So that is important that we, just honor the emotion and not allow our students to sit in the hurt and think that they can, just evaluate themselves based on that exclusively. All right. Next, so give yourself, your teen, a day or two to feel what they feel, reassess target and likely schools, and then shift energy towards remaining essays. I think that's very, very important that students do that, and so they can, kind of readjust accordingly. Appeals, yes, I have seen appeals of rejected applications get in. It is not something I'm a fan of. It's not something I encourage, but I get asked about it enough that I thought I would throw it in here. Appeal is a request for reconsideration supported by new and meaningful facts. Sure. Um, I want students to follow the instructions of an appeal if that is what they choose to do, but I really, really don't want them to dwell on it to the fact that they think it's going to happen. If it happens, great. I'd love to have egg on my face, but it is not something that I'm expecting to happen if a student gets denied. So, yes, you can gather new achievements, appeal if you meet the criteria, go from there. All right. I am a writer. I've written two books. Hold that thought. I've written two books on college admission. I've written some others, but they're not in hand, I can't grab them right now. The Black Family's Guide to College Admissions, a conversation about education, parenting, and race. I co-authored this with Timothy L. Fields, who's the Senior Associate Dean of Admission at Emory University, and the foreword by Kiel Bello, who is a um, educational advocate, owns an educational testing company. So we put a lot of hard work into this because we wanted to share information. And we felt that a lot of Black families in particular needed to hear from a different voice. And we were felt responsible to being that voice. I've also co-written another essay book, Powerful College Admission Essays, a guide to telling your story, with a high school friend of mine. And he's also a college admission professional, has a lot of experience in a lot of different spaces, working with Khan Academy. And Brennan and I put this together because we wanted there to be a simple handbook for families to use for the college admission process, college essay writing process. So we say all that because right now students should be really, really digging into the college essay piece. If they have more essays to write, this is critical that they use this as an opportunity to, yes, reassess, readjust what they could have written before, but also to write essays that are sharp and able to, really express who they are. I'm a big believer that you don't want to wait until New Year's Day to submit, even though the deadlines are usually then. You can personalize, the why us, like don't just copy and paste essays because you think that that's enough. No, put some effort into it. Be proud of what you produce, students. Parents, understand that you want your kid to present their best selves. And then I'm going to show you a December checklist at the end of this that I would love for you to follow. Regular decision is what we're here, right? We're here now. It's January almost. That's the primary deadline that most schools have. Um, so you need to understand that once you're in the regular decision pool, like there's so many, schools to consider. Colleges have a lot more applications. So it's a big pool. But again, if that's where you are, that's where you are. Once you apply regular decision, you have to hear back from a school on April by April 1st. So a lot of schools start releasing their decisions in mid-March. So I'm really hoping that families will take advantage of the opportunity to write essays, previous slide, so that they can now reap the rewards of what they produce and then submit in January. So submit materials by December 30th. That is my ask. That's what I think will help you most. Verify test scores, confirm recommendations. I think these are all great things to do. Early decision two is a great strategic choice. Yes, it's another binding agreement. A second chance at a first choice. But again, you have to be prepared for a lot of things. A lot of students who apply ED1 don't get in, then say, well, I'm just going to apply ED2 to a school of similar selectivity. That is not wise. I definitely encourage families, students to reassess that so that they can ideally take a step down. If you didn't get into a school that has less than a 10% admit rate, you need to now go to a 20 to 25% admit rate, right? Don't even if it's 20 to 10. I think that the likelihood of you being in another pool of kids who will probably also got deferred and now jumping into a pool that's going to be close to equally as selective is not going to yield you the results that you want. And it's also a financial commitment. Same thing as, early decision. A lot of families say, well, if they get into Harvard, then I'll pay for it, right? But if they have to, apply to a school of quote unquote not as prestigious, ED2, you're locked in. So I think you should probably survey the landscape, see where you might get merit money. I was actually emailing with a family today. The child did not get into University of Pennsylvania, got into awesome schools, Fordham University. He's gotten into Rutgers. He's gotten into a whole bunch of great schools that I believe are going to get him merit aid, and he feels good. He's okay. We were hoping, but not expecting him to get into Penn. But now, they're considering NYU ED2. I don't think it's necessary. I think that there is probably an opportunity for him to get some merit money in other places. If you follow me at all, you understand that I say cost, location, major, career. I mean, colleges, she was saying NYU is 95, Fordham is 95 grand, NYU is 97. Like, come on now, we're talking 100 grand. I digress. That's the sticker price. Obviously, there are some, financial adjustments that can be made, but I do believe that you kind of go by the framework of cost, location, major, and career. I really believe that that you'll make the right decisions. If you have been deferred, if you are kind of in the thick of it, let's the missing items. Make sure you're checking your portals regularly, updating them. These are things that are really important. You definitely want to make sure that you are aware of what's missing and what's not. That would be great. Log in weekly. That's what I want you to do. Screenshot missing items and alert counselor immediately. Going one more time, I got to go back to this social media thing. Social media can amplify joy or pain. It can protect your peace and there. So I need you to make sure that you are, just aware of families who are going through it and families, parents. We got to protect our kids from the evils of social media. It's got some pluses, but it's got some minuses too. All right, so we're at the end of the slide deck because again, you're now in the thick of it, right? You got January, February, March to probably hear about 90 days. You hear about April 1st. You have 90 days to wait, but then you have until May 1st to make a final decision. I'm hoping that that yields what you want. But here's the checklist that I spoke of. Celebrate the acceptances with gratitude. Respond to deferrals by December 31st. Complete supplements by December 31st. I probably said December 30th earlier, but that's because December 30th is my wedding anniversary. It's always an important day to me. You want to protect your kids' mental health. You want to check their portals weekly. You want to consider ED2 wisely, and you want to make sure that they're maintaining their academic excellence. So all that said, I'm really, really hoping that families will use this December checklist push time to benefit themselves and their kids and to try to finish strong and not let a deferral derail your process. If you would like support in any of this, again, I feel very, very much like I'm on an assignment. This is my ministry. I'm living in my purpose to help families navigate the college admission process. And I really hope that you reach out to Strategic Admissions Advice because I believe that we can help you. So I will stop sharing there, and I will, ask if anybody has any questions. Please check me out, strategicadmissionsadvice.com, and we will go from there. All right. I appreciate you, the person who joined me earlier. I'll see you in about 45, 40 minutes. And I hope that you watch this video, learn a lot, and can reach out to us so that we can support you in any way that you need to be supported.